right? Hey, what's up,
got?
YouTube? It's Richie from Boston. It is the 6th of February in the year 2020. And I am joined right now. The number one requested person people wanted to hear from was Keith, or Many Fish. He had his camera on, but he lives in an area that got smoked last night with snow, and his internet connection isn't too great. So we're going to go audio only and see if that works. So hopefully it does. Keith, what's up, brother?
How's it going, Richie?
There he is. There he is. Not too bad. Not too bad. So you're about 100 miles north from me?
Yeah, almost exactly, I'd say.
And you just told me something crazy about the snow. You want to explain that a little bit, the best you can?
Yeah, man, I'm plowing snow. I get out of the tractor, I'm shoveling, and I notice on my black truck, the snowflakes, man, they're not flakes. And I got video of it. They're like these long, straight, thin fibers. It's the most bizarre thing I ever saw. And I did take some video. Hopefully I'll get that loaded up later.
Well, check this out. I know you've seen this, and I'm fairly certain you've done videos on it, cymatics, etc. The Japanese scientist that did the study on the growing rice using classical music, using praise and words like love and stuff like that, and then he used Hitler and Metallica, and it completely affected the way the rice turned black, so forth and so on. My point is, with all the frequencies in the atmosphere, we're no longer, when you and I were kids, snowflakes were beautiful. Every one of them was individual. They were all different, and they were all amazing geometric forms. Now it's just nanoparticulated, whatever. Do you agree or no?
Oh, I totally agree. This isn't the first time that I've seen this phenomenon. I've seen multiple. Yeah, phenomenon. So, no, it's not new. It's been going on for a long time. I've seen snow, man. One time I watched it creep off of my roof, and it looked like literal spider webs, like very dense spider webs. It wouldn't break apart. It was stuck together, just hanging down half the side of my house. It was absolutely insane. We're screwed, man. They have screwed up our weather and our air and our water so bad that only the power of the living God is going to pull anybody out of this, dude. That's all there is to it.
I totally agree with you. And this ties right into the subject we were going to talk about anyways, even though I didn't bother to mention to you what subject we were talking about, but I figured we would go off the last video that you made, which was great. And I want to show you this picture real quick, if I can find this. This is an artist impression or a visual impression of what Wi-Fi looks like if people could actually see it. And this ties directly into what we're talking about. This goes back to 8/28/19. Beautiful drawings reveal millions of Wi-Fi signals all around the world. Notice it's beautiful drawings of Wi-Fi signals. Well, let's take a see this. Notice that this is the representation that they decided to use, a dome-like system, but that's what Wi-Fi looks like. Just because people can't see it, they don't seem to understand. I mean, this is also what Wi-Fi looks like. Hopefully you can see this. It's bad. We're submerged in a man-made structure that people don't realize is all around us at all times, and it's affecting people big time. Big time. I mean, like you just said, it's affecting the snow, dude. And I've noticed it. You've noticed it. You know what I mean? Go ahead, brother.
No doubt about it. No, there's no doubt about it, man. I mean, if anybody's been paying attention, I don't know, the last 15 years that I've been watching, dumping just trillions of tons of God knows what into the air, of course you're going to get freakish stuff like this. It's killing all the trees. It's killing the water supplies. My gardens are just horrible these last couple of years. It's a joke, man. I'm telling you, this is spiritual warfare manifest. This is all prophesied here at a theater near you. You better get to knowing Jesus if you don't know him.
And the funny thing is there's so many people that just do not want to hear that. I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm a really stubborn dude. If I think I'm right about something and I can prove it, I pretty much stick to my guns. But if you've watched me over the last 10 years, you can see how I suddenly started to get it, the big picture. It isn't just a bunch of evil guys running around that want money and they want to control people, et cetera, et cetera. It's biblical and you can prove it. You know what I mean? And people don't care. They don't care. It's astounding to me how they're defending this system to their own detriment. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I know they're in the trap of the flesh. You know, they think that this life is the end all be all. You know, they don't understand that there is a literal war for your soul. And, you know, God works in wondrous ways, man. There's coming a time where people more or less are not going to be able to deny this stuff at all. You know what I'm saying? And they will seek, you know, I don't know, how do you put it? You know, they're going to know that there's a God. I'm telling you, they're just going to understand that this is spiritual warfare because of the things that are coming. I mean, just look at what we know now. You know what I mean?
It's amazing to me. This comment right here is good because it reminds me of what I wanted to kind of run by people. The last, I don't know how it is up your way. You're traditionally in the wintertime in Maine, it's cold. It's cold and snowy. Down here, it's been 37, 40s, 50s. It's been like, it's not terrible. Normally in February, it's brutally cold. But the thing is we're getting a weather event right now. It's cold and snowing a little bit here. It's snowing up your way. But this commenter is saying right now it's warm in New Jersey, probably to hold the winter storms in place in other areas. People are falling for this global warming hoax because, see, it's warm in New England. Yeah, it is warm in New England, but it's snowing in Moab. They can't make the weather go away, but they can control it and manipulate it, which means they can move it around. You know what I'm saying? They're just messing with everything on a grand scale, and people are falling for this whole ruse. It freaks me out, man.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is your climate chaos. This is their number one, you know, weapon in getting the people of the world to get behind this whole climate change garbage. And it's all in order just to control the resources, control humanity, you know, all the food, all the water, all the energy. You know, they got in this whole new system between the quantum computers, this 5, 6, and coming 7G, that will give them the mechanism to have that omnipresence in order to enforce all these laws.
I do. This is Satan's way, or Lucifer, whatever you want to call him, the adversary's way of being omnipresent like God. This is going to give him the ability to see, hear, and react instantaneously, and people are literally paying to have this done. Like they're paying for their own 24/7 surveillance, etc. You know what I'm saying?
That's absolutely
Here's a good one.
Right.
This is Vice. Check this out, Keith. This is from, I used to like Vice a long time ago, but they do what everybody does. But this is a good representation of what 5G looks like when you're walking along in your house with your phone. I mean, look at, that's crazy, man. That is crazy. And it looks just like, you know, the wind, the powers, the principalities. People don't seem to get it.
Exactly. Most people would think that's cool.
And that's how they present it. These are beautiful drawings of radio frequencies wrapped around your children. You know, there's actually, if you can see this, there's two people inside this little egg, which I find very strange, but it's unreal, man. Digital Ethernet. Etherreal is a gadget that translates Wi-Fi signals into color. Oh, okay. So this isn't even an artist's conception. This is a machine of some sort that can translate Wi-Fi signal strength into colors with an LED panel where red signifies high intensity and blue represents weak signals. Oh my. And then you get purple, of course, which, you know, makes us think of the Vatican and pretty much every secret society, but I'll digress on that one. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
Yeah, they'll just call it art. You know, if you call it art or you call it science, people will just buy it move along.
All right, let me ask you what a lot of people probably want to know. You grew up in the exact same area that I did, hanging around with the exact same people, doing the same, probably really bad stuff to other people for your own gain, being of this world like I did. What was it that snapped you out of it and made you do what you're doing now? Because I've spoken to you dozens of times. I've met you a couple of times. You only make videos when they're placed in, like when it's handed over to you by an unseen power, which we'll call the Heavenly Father, God above, etc. How did you end up breaking away from the world and doing the work that you're doing now?
Well, yeah, you're right. It is. It's all Holy Spirit led, but how I came to be in this position is just all the work of God, man. I mean, it was pretty much near death experiences, you know, that helped. But I realized that, you know, I think God reaches out to us too. It's like he calls us, and it's just up to us to respond to the call. You know what I mean? Because I realized my life was, you know, leading me to prison, leading me to just, you know, broke, homeless, moving all over the place, you know, that type of garbage. It just brought me to a point where, you know, I realized that if I didn't make some serious changes, it was all over. And not even knowing God. And it's funny because it was 𝗕𝗿𝗄𝗿 was one of the last little facilities I visited right down there in Lynn, the city of sin. And after that point, man, you know, God just kind of let himself be, because I was just searching, you know what I mean? It's when you begin to search with a sincere heart, you know, that you really do understand that this life and this world are pretty much just a dead-end death road, because it is. You know, the flesh ends in death. The spirit is what carries on. And God just calls our spirit. He literally makes himself known to those who are sincerely, humbly seeking the truth. That's just, I mean, I didn't have any burning bush moment or anything like that. It was literally standing in the shop one day. I don't know what I was looking at, but I was reading something, and it just dawned on me that God is real, and I need him. I need his help. And so I started seeking it.
Well, it started to dawn on me that my self-destructive behavior my entire life was bringing me so very close to getting killed. And there was numerous opportunities to pass on to the next realm, but I never did. And when I turned around 40, I'm walking through the streets of Northampton. I'm homeless. I'm strung out like a research monkey. And it's my birthday, and my family would have been more than happy to throw me a birthday party, but I wasn't around. I was either in jail or I was just simply MIA. And when people ask me how I quit doing heroin, because heroin's a monster, it's an absolute monster. When I would go to meetings and such, I mean, this was before I understood the gravity of everything, no pun intended. I just said that God put his hand on my shoulder and said, "You've had enough, kid." You know what I mean? You've had enough. And things got really good. You know, I started my own business, blah, blah, blah. And then one day I stumbled down this rabbit hole and it just took off. I couldn't believe it. And it made so much sense. And the more I went into it, the more I realized that the only way to stop anything, the only way to protect yourself was the full armor of God and seeking out God's face, understanding who Jesus was, Yahushua, whatever you want to call him, and realizing he was a real person. And I have, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy watching this happen, dude. It's crazy watching this happen. It's crazy watching people completely ignoring it, Keith. Completely. They just deny it. What you can see with your own eyes, they just deny it.
Yeah, I know. And I was probably one of those deniers at some point. And it's a matter of people getting to a point, you know how you had to get to the point you had to get to, I had to reach the end of my road. I think it's pretty much the same way with all people. And as things begin to get worse here, and people begin to really understand that they are involved in a very dark, sinister world that you cannot go up against. No flesh is going to go up against what is coming upon this earth. It's just not the way it works. So it will cause most people to submit to it. You know, I had a comment yesterday, I think, when I mentioned the free will in the last video. They want your free will, and that's true. But most people will freely give it up, thinking that they have no other opportunity other than to give up the free will to this system, because they don't realize that there's more beyond this life. You know what I'm saying? All these things occurring.
I do.
Yeah. These things have to occur, and it has to get worse. And it'll cause a lot more people to turn to the truth. And seriously, I believe that's how it works. They'll be forced to the end of their road, down their dead end. And many will just call out, and with sincerity, with humility, knowing that their flesh and their knowledge and their cunningness isn't going to get them out of this. I don't care who you are, how much money you got, how deep a bunker you own, how much gold you got. It ain't happening. You're either going to serve this world, the God of this world, or you're going to serve the God, Father in heaven, by his Son, Jesus Christ. It's one or the other.
Just real quick for the people that did seem to see the comment or hear me say numerous times, many fish is living in an area that's traditionally has a terrible cell phone signal. And he's having a storm today. So like I said, he's here. So we're going to take what we can get. I can hear him. And yes, it's a little choppy, but it's still, I can still hear it. So bear with it or don't, your call. Check. Yeah. Wise to lies. I saw your comment the first time. Thank you. I'm not going to, but thank you anyways. Check this out. So many people are so concerned with the material, this world, celebrities, sports, being of this world, knowing the, you know, being up to date on the news. That's a whole nother thing. People, Trump's going to get, I can't even remember what it's called, man. Are you kidding me? Help me out here, Keith. Impeached.
Trump's going to.
Every single president, like the last 4 presidents, that was the story. They're going to impeach Bush. They're going to impeach Obama. They're going to impeach Bill Clinton. It's busy work. Nothing will come of it, and nothing came of it. All this stuff, there's a reason that the body breaks down as you get older. You get older, you get wiser spiritually and emotionally, but your body breaks down because the body's like, it's just like turning into a butterfly. The body's shedding away, and then you go back to the spiritual realm, which everybody that's had a near-death experience said it was thousands of times more real than this physical realm. People need to remember that, man. This is all just a distraction. It's like a classroom. Smoke and mirrors, just distractions, indeed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's more like a trap, you know? This isn't our home. You know, when you're in Christ, you're in the spirit, you understand that. This place never was supposed to be our home. This is the 11th loaf of bread, right? I mean, it has to be cleansed in order to have a righteous society, and mankind is contaminated. I mean, right from the garden.
Well, stand by. I'm going to pull this up right here because I want you to explain. I want people to understand that this commercial, why did they choose to use the exact sequence that's used when you launch a thermonuclear weapon, if those are even real? But over the years, they've always shown us what these 2 scientists are doing to release the 5G is exactly what you would do to launch an ICBM. You think that's a complete coincidence, Keith?
Oh, not at all, because it's the equivalent of multiple ICBMs. I mean, this is like Jericho for the spiritual world. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. When they send this off, they actually show the Wi-Fi going over the country and changing everything. and it looks exactly like the pictures I just showed you. I just realized that correlation. That was just a coincidence, apparently. Yeah, look at this. Look at all the beams of lights coming from way down in this dark pit that goes way, 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 way down, like the Gotthard Tunnel to CERN, and then beamed out. Look at that. Look at that. America.
Yeah, they're literally showing you what they're doing. And there doesn't have to be any nukes going off once this is all in place, you know? The 6G is all Elon Musk's, you know, I don't know how many tens of thousands of his little cube things he's throwing up in the air, but that's your 6G. That'll replace the GPS, and the precision and clarity and real time, no latency, trace and track every single moving thing on the face of the earth. That's the plan.
And these towers are everywhere. And it's amazing that, I mean, this is right next to a baseball field. And look at the warnings on it. You know, this is insane how they just completely act like radio frequencies isn't and hasn't been used as a weapon since the late 50s. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is going to be ugly. Absolutely ugly. And the only way around this is the full armor of God. If the full armor of God can literally stop a spiritual attack or being targeted in the middle of the night, I think it can handle this. But sadly, too many people are not going to have it because they don't believe in it. You know what I don't know.
Well, yeah, people continue to try and fight a spiritual war with their carnal bodies and minds. It's never going to work. It's like the government trying to legislate morality, but they'll try it anyway. And people just buy along into it because they've been conned into believing that their thinking, their minds, their intellect, their wherewithal can make this change and bring, you know, good back into the world, rout out all evil. And only the love of Christ can do that. And it's a spiritual war. Period. End of discussion. And if you're trying to fight it in the flesh, you're going to lose. Look at human history. For centuries, millennia, they've convinced people to go to war. Millions and millions of people die in the name of God, in the name of this. Everyone's always right. These ones are always more righteous. It's the duality of mankind. It's a cannibalistic system when you live in the flesh. If you're not reborn in the spirit, then you'll never understand it, and you'll just die with all the rest of them. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but it's the truth.
It is. I hear you when you say I hate to say it this way, but it's the truth. But there's so many people that I know, and I've said this dozens of times. There's so many people that I know that are theoretically smart on paper. If you look at their paperwork, etc., you'd be like, wow, this person's really squared away. But they're stuck in the spell of Hollywood. They're stuck in the spell of the scientists, the black magicians. It's amazing to me. They go and get their flu shot and then get sick anyway and don't think a thing of it. You know what I mean? Like it just freaks me out. It freaks me out. But here we are. And did you ever think that you'd be in the seat that you're at right now, desperately trying to warn people, showing them things like this right here? Like ever?
No, you kidding me?
I hear you.
I mean,
hear you, dude.
You're the
age about backpacks and such. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm just a bumpkin with a desktop, you know, with a welding shop, and that's all I ever wanted to do is get away from the city and do my little business here and die with dignity, I guess. But that all changed.
It's crazy, right? It's totally crazy. You're making sense to a lot of people because a lot of people follow you, man.
Well,
I mean, I'm not saying subscription wise because none of us know what anyone's numbers are. The numbers are just ridiculous. Whatever we're saying is making somebody mad because they're doing everything they can to silence us covertly. You know what I mean? They tried overtly and that didn't work. So they're doing it. I forget what I just said. They're doing it covertly. My bad.
Well, yeah, they are. I mean, it's all in the dark. Everything they do is in the dark. Only the spirit can reveal these things to you, you know, whether it's, you know, revealed directly to you or through someone else. You know, this is how the spiritual warfare works. We support each other. You know what I mean? It's an information war, but you know, the information is on a spiritual level. It's not like reading a website or, you know, finding the best news source or anything. It's all in the Bible. It's all spiritual. That's your guide. That's your teacher, first and foremost. I mean, other than that, you know, you're kind of like shoveling crap against the tide. You know what I'm saying?
I do. I need to get another Bible because I've got this. Here, let me put this up. I don't even know what I'm showing here. I'm probably going to get a copyright strike, whatever. I've got this really old Bible that I paid a couple of $100 because it's in perfect shape. It's an old King James Bible that I got years ago specifically and only to debunk the Mandela effect, and that failed. At any rate, I read this every day, and I have a really hard time reading this one because, I don't know, there's got to be an easier version. This is tough, man. Just the way it's written.
No, it can be. It can. Yeah, I understand. And
any tips you could give me on that, like to make it easier to not just to read. I don't want to just like sit down. I don't read a paragraph and okay, I'm done. I read a paragraph of the Bible today and I'm off. I need to understand what I read, and I end up sitting there reading it over and over. And just the way it's written out is hard for me to digest, if that makes sense.
No, it does. It would really help if you had some, you know, more fellowship, you know, people that you can just read some scripture with and talk about it. That's the most helpful thing of all. You know, pray before you read it. It helps a lot to listen to scripture too, man. There's many ways you can just put on scripture, just listen to it, and God will write it on your heart, man.
Breaking up so bad, dude. It's funny. You start talking about the Bible and can't hear a word. Try this, Keith. Yeah. Drop out and jump back in.
How do I do that?
Hit the button down the bottom that says Leave Studio. It's the red button with the X. And then just hit the link I sent you and jump back in. Right. See if that clears it up. Because you were good for a minute.
All right. Hang on.
I will. All right. Yeah, I'm reading the comments, guys. I'm reading the comments. I read a lot of the red words, the words that Jesus spoke. So I read that a lot. And it's crazy because certain passages come to mind. I have no clue from where. And then I look them up. Okay, here we go. There you go.
Back?
It's better.
Is my camera working?
Yep. There he is. Ladies and gentlemen, let's blow that up for all the fans at home.
Oh, wow. Oh, geez. Don't be taking no iris scans or anything.
No, we're good. We're good.
Well, all right, that's weird, huh?
What's that?
Just how it reset like that, and now it works.
It happens. It's amazing to me that, I mean, I live right in the middle of a huge city with Verizon Fios, and half the time I don't have a cell phone signal. I mean, how many times have I called you and you don't get the message for 2 days? That's creepy.
Oh, dude, it's so bad, man. I mean, granted, I got a 10-year-old iPhone, but still it works fine. Yeah. There's a lot of strange things going on. Believe me, they're in the process of they're in the process of making a huge switch, and it's going to it's going to just come upon the world like, I mean, it really is. It's going to hit one day. There's going to be some sort of calamity, a financial collapse, a pandemic, things that are going to cause them to make a big shift in the system. You know what I mean?
I don't think the timing is coincidental that they decided to bring up this pandemic. I mean, every single year they bring up a new airborne disease, Zika, bird flu, swine flu, whatever flu. But this year they put it out there. And for the people that are like, there's leaks coming out of China, dude, I don't know how to explain it anymore. China is the new world order testing ground. Everything that's coming bad in the United States is already happening. It's a model. They're already using the social credit scoring. I mean, dude, they're hiding it. Well, they told us right off the bat, yep, we just quarantined 65 million. And if you translated that to the United States, that would mean from Maine to Florida, east of the Mississippi, everybody was quarantined in a day. Dude, that's big.
Yeah,
that's
be like
huge. You know what I'm saying?
It's gigantic.
So
of course I do. We don't know what we can believe out of any of these mouthpieces. That's just a fact. So we try and find alternative sources, ones we can trust, to get as much information as we can. But if you're remaining in that spirit, you'll just be guided. You'll know what you need to know, and you'll know what God's will is for you. You know what I mean? And most of the time, it's not sweating. What's that?
I do. And it didn't hurt that I had somebody hit me up from 𝗙𝗲𝗍 saying, dude, and I know it's all true because I got it on the 28th of January saying, dude, the federal government is making all the top dogs at our company fly in to sit down and tell us to stop telling people that simply by washing your hands with an antiseptic, you'll be fine. And I said, if this is true and you guys don't bow to the pressure, they're going to go right after you in the media. January 29th, 𝗙𝗲𝗯𝗿𝘂 doesn't do what the FDA, boom, right there. Right there and then I knew this was them testing again. James Corbett put it perfectly on his channel the other last week. Him and James 𝗦𝗵𝗿𝗏. He said, this is giving them an opportunity to break out the martial law machine. Test it out. Quarantine 65 million, because quarantine's way worse than martial law. It's the same thing, but worse. Yeah. Because you'll be like, please quarantine me. I don't want to kill anybody. You know what I mean, brother? It's diabolical.
Yeah, you don't want medical quarantine, man. That's beyond martial law. That's when they start getting into the forced vaccinations, the forced FEMA camps. Nobody wants this stuff, man. But the fact of the matter is something very much like that, if not that, is gonna come. I mean, it's pretty much in the cards. You know, you can see it down the road a little ways. It's like it's unavoidable. There's going to be a massive shift in how we all perceive this world very soon. That's just my opinion. Very soon to me is not necessarily very soon to what God has planned. You know what I mean? But we're there. We're there.
We're at
we're absolutely there.
To me, this coronavirus isn't what they're saying it is, but it's just as bad because it's a test. This is the first time I've seen them. They've tried, like I said, Zika, all these other things. They've done little small stages, see what the public reaction is. I never saw such a push as with the coronavirus. Never. And then they backed up, just like we knew it was like they're going to have to. If this is a complete testing, if these guys are simply testing, they're gonna kill us in the mainstream, and then they're gonna divert. They're gonna completely back off and stop. And they did. That's when Kobe Bryant fell out of the sky. All of a sudden, the coronavirus went away for several days while everybody was worshiping the idol known as Kobe Bryant, which freaks me. It's a bad. I bet you if I was a really tall dude with long arms and I could figure out how to dribble a ball, I could probably play basketball really well too. I don't get it, man. I just don't get it. But that's exactly what they did. And then it came out again. They're testing their apparatus. I didn't say that. James Corbett did, but it's a good one. I'll steal it.
Well, yeah, they're always testing. You know, this is a pretty big test, though. I mean, this is a pretty big test. They're going relatively hot with this. You know what I mean? You gotta believe that there's got to be at least some truth to this, because I mean, the stuff leaking out. Yeah, you can debunk a lot of it, but at the same time, I don't know, man. This may be an actual bioweapon that kind of got away from them a little bit, and if it cuts loose, you just don't know what can happen. You just don't. You really don't. That's why I made the colloidal silver video the other day, because I swear by this stuff. I mean, it has literally saved my life. That's all I can say about it.
Nice. I think what was I just going to say? The virus will be perfect. I do think they're going to release it. Do you have your watch page open? Because it's echoing like, oh, you're killing me.
What do I gotta turn down my volume or something like that?
No, if you're watching
I'm
this,
not watching YouTube, anything.
All right, it's gone.
No, I'm not. No.
So onto what you were saying, the coronavirus would be perfect because it'll help them collapse the dollar at the same time, which they have to do. The dollar is so top heavy right now; it's ridiculous. It has to fail. The coronavirus will cover their tracks. No one will even see it coming. You know what I mean? And then everybody will have to get the mark. And they already got their invisible remote vaccine gun, so they can check from a distance to see if you got your vaccines. The only reason they would ever need that is if there was a real pandemic, and that's already on deck. You know, it's all lining up. It's all lining up. Nobody's trying to hack us. We live in a bad cell area. It happens. Let's not make things out of things that aren't real yet. So
yeah, well.
At any rate,
such advanced technology, you know, just keeps getting worse.
Strange, right? Isn't it strange? I live in a city, and half the time I don't have a cell phone signal. So, all right, Keith, give us some.
Trust my. Yeah, what?
You just broke up really bad. Yeah, I'm losing you really bad, really bad. All right, colloidal silver, bad weather in space. I don't know what that means. Donald Trump not getting yeah, we knew that. It's called busy work. It keeps everybody busy. They'll come up with something else. Here's one thing.
Yeah, that's an interesting scenario.
Have that?
That Donald Trump acquittal. It is. That's an interesting scenario, the Donald Trump acquittal on a spiritual level. Just this morning, you know, it might be the workings of a video. I don't know, but just what was done right after that acquittal, this little 30-second piece he throws up on his Twitter about Trump forever. A lot of things to do with that I'm seeing here that I haven't quite, you know, wrapped my mind around. I've been plowing snow all morning. But yeah, it's all part of this ongoing gigantic ritual. They're the club, we're the goyim, and they're going to continue rolling along until, you know, God pulls his restrainer, and then it's all hell breaks loose. You know, because that day is coming. It's coming a day where that evil is going to be able to show itself fully. And you don't want to be around. You just don't want to be around. God's people are not appointed to wrath. Now, people have asked me about the rapture and stuff all the time. I have no qualm with the rapture whatsoever, but it's not something that's been put on my spirit to really pursue and pay attention to. I know that God's got me, period. So whatever he wills me to do, I know that my eternity is safe and sound. What he chooses, to do with this vessel, that's really not my call. I just try and hear it and do it. That's the hardest struggle I have is staying on that spiritual plane that I can understand the things he's trying to show us and what he wants us to do. It's a hard thing. It can be, I don't like the word burdensome, but it can weigh heavy. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? All of us, everybody out there that's watching us, they know, man, this stuff can really weigh heavy. And you wonder, when, Lord, when is the everything just gonna bust loose so we can get the show on the road? You know what I mean?
I do.
At one way, you don't really want that. You know what I mean? On one side of it, because when everything does bust loose, you don't want to be around. You don't even want to witness this stuff that's coming, because all this H.P. Lovecraft and this is the real deal. This is the spiritual warfare that's literally manifesting into this reality. And if you think it's scary now, the stuff that you show and I show and so many of us are trying to warn people about, this literally is nothing. Those guys in that commercial at the end, wait till they see what we have next. They're not kidding. They're telling you what's coming.
Your audio
and God is telling you. I don't know, man.
It's getting progressively worse. Really bad. Here's one thing. Let's wrap it up on this then. Well, we got 40 minutes. It wasn't bad, but it's getting progressively worse. I'm not exactly sure why.
Oh.
Check this out. This is right off of what you just finished saying. People need to understand, no matter what the time schedule is, no matter what's real, what isn't real, no matter what happens, at some point, the rubber is going to have to hit the road, and you're going to be faced with either taking the forced vaccine, taking the mark, whatever it is, because these are all culminating together right now. Forced vaccine and a dollar collapse, which will mean you'll have to have some sort of social credit score. No one can buy or sell. It's all coming together. Will you stand firm at the very end, or will you stay with this world? Do you know what I'm saying? Do you think that's legit?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's why it tells us,
biggest decision of your life.
Well, of course it is, but people need to start seeking these things now. It's not as though you have to go and get yourself baptized and be converted. It doesn't work that way. It's a love for the truth. And once you start to develop that love for the truth, God gives you that. I mean, he literally does. He draws you to him. It's not like we find God. It's put upon us to seek him out. And he reveals all the truths to you, everything you need to know. But you got to come to that point where you realize this world is a lie. I mean, it's a lie, man. From cradle to grave, you're lied to by this world. That's all there is to it.
All right, guys. Keith, I appreciate your time. We got 40 minutes. That's not bad whatsoever at all, especially in the middle of the day. So you guys asked for it. He was here. The internet connection. There's nothing we can do about that. Keith, I appreciate your time, brother.
Hey, anytime, Richie, man. Anytime at all. God bless you all.
Think about it. The day will come. Richie from Boston, Many Fish, and we are out.